Hello, beautiful people. Today we are going to be studying adding and subtracting polynomials. Some vocabulary for you to all have written out. If you didn't, you can press pause right now and then write down what you see on this screen. Swab at, classify, add, and subtract polynomials. So let's go over the vocabulary that hopefully you wrote down. A monomial is a real number, a variable, or a product of a real number and one or more variables. So for example, 9 would be a monomial. If I had just x, that's a monomial. I could have 3y, I could have negative 6ab as well. Those are all monomials. This is a monomial, mono, 1. Polynomial is a monomial, so it could be just one of those, or it could be the sum of monomials. And an example of that might be like 3x to the 5th plus 4x to the 3rd power minus, I'm making this up obviously, that's why it's taking me so long, minus 2x squared plus x minus 16. That's a polynomial. Now, the degree of a polynomial is the greatest exponent of it. So if I'm looking at this, and this is what's considered standard form because it goes from the highest exponent all the way to the lowest, which would be like x to the 0 on this one. The highest exponent for this one is 5, so the degree of this one would be 5. A binomial is a polynomial with only two terms, like 4x plus 2 or y to the 3rd minus 5. Two terms, binomial. Kind of makes sense. Trinomial would be a polynomial with three terms, like 5x squared plus 2x minus 7, for example. That's your vocabulary. Make sure you have it all written down. The next thing we'd like to do is to rewrite the polynomial so that the exponents have, so that the exponents decrease from left to right. That means we are going for standard form. That is called standard form. Then we're going to identify the degree, the leading coefficient of the polynomial, and classify it by the number of terms. So it's kind of a lot. First thing they wanted me to do was this one, standard form. So standard form means that the highest exponent needs to come first. So there's a negative in front of that, so negative m to the 4th. The next thing would be plus 8m. And then the one without an m, that's your constant, that's always going to go last. So plus 7. That's us in standard form, writing the polynomial in order from the greatest exponent to the smallest. The other thing that they want me to do is to identify the degree of a polynomial. So the degree, remember that is the highest exponent, and my highest exponent for this one is 4. My leading coefficient, LC, leading coefficient. Leading means that it starts off. So once it's in standard form, what's starting this off? Coefficient is the number in front of the variable. So it doesn't look like there is anything there, but remember, if they don't give you a number in front of there, it's a 1. So my leading coefficient is negative 1. And now to classify this by the number of terms, there are 1, 2, 3 terms. Therefore, this is a trinomial. There you go. So part B looks a little bit different, but it's not too much. There are two different variables, and I'll tell you now, in order to actually, well, let's just start with order first. This has the highest one, so I'm going to put c squared d cubed first, plus 5cd minus 12. If there's more than one variable, though, technically, this is a 1, this is a 1. So to find out which one has the highest one, you would add those, and then it would be 2. For these two, you would add them, and it would be 5. This is the true degree. So the degree of this is going to be 5 because it's the highest exponent. We combine these. They're kind of like, well, they're combined. Your leading coefficient, this is an L, is 1. And then there are 1, 2, 3 terms again. So this, again, is a trinomial. Very good. Okay. Part C, if you want to at any point, you can press pause and try it on your own. But in order, it's negative 8f to the 7th plus f to the 5th. My degree is your highest exponent, so that's 7. And your leading coefficient is negative 8. There are two terms. I was going to write 2. So this is a binomial. Okay, last one. It's in order because there's only one thing. So it's 11. The degree, well, there aren't any variables on this one, so the degree is actually going to be 0 in my mind. And this is a constant. And this would be a monomial. If there's 4 terms, in case you're wondering, then you won't really be able to class it. You'll find any way special. You'll just say polynomial. If it has 4 or more, you would just call it a polynomial only. Okay, so this is not completely new for most of us, but I do want to show you 2 different formats because the book might ask you to do 2 different things. So I'm going to show you them right now. The first one is the vertical format, and so vertical, remember, means up and down. Horizontal is left and right. So for vertical format, the first thing that I'm going to do is write this first term, or actually everything, in standard form. So I want to go from the highest exponent to the smallest. So negative x squared plus 6x plus 3. For vertical format, I'm going to align the like terms underneath their common parts. So this 4x squared goes under this x squared terms. Minus x minus 2. Goes right there. Now it looks, because this was positive, I'm going to put a plus sign there. It looks a lot more like when you first, very first started to learn how to add. So you just combine like terms going up and down. So 3 minus 2 is 1. 6x minus x. 5x, was that a positive 1 or a negative 1? Positive 1. 6x and that's a positive 5. If you go from left to right, that's fine as well. Negative 1 plus 4 is 3x. This is where I'm not going to put the positive sign, squared. There you go. That's your vertical format. You're lining up left and right, up and down. Now your horizontal one, a little bit different. You're still going to go from left to right. You're still going to put this in standard form, but these terms are alike, so I'm going to group them together in their own set of parentheses, like right here. So I have x squared plus 3x squared plus, and then my next terms that are like, negative x plus 2x plus, and then these two are like, so negative 4 plus 1. Truthfully, most people will get to a point where they just do this in their head, but I'm showing you what's going on in that dark and lonely mind of my own. Just kidding. So x squared plus 3x is 4x squared. Combining these two, negative 1 plus 2 is a positive x, and then negative 4 plus 3 is plus 1 is negative 3. And there you go. That is the horizontal format and the vertical format. Same thing kind of works for subtraction, just a little bit different, because let's remind yourselves of something. If we had 5 minus 7, remember when we were first learning how to do integers, we would add the opposite. So we would turn this into 5 plus negative 7. We changed the sign. We added the opposite. Same thing has to happen here. So I am going to, so the first one will stay the same, 5x squared minus 4x plus 1, and it's already in standard form, which is nice. Now I'm going to add the opposite. Basically, you need to change all these signs. So this was positive 8, now it's negative 8. This was negative x squared, now it's positive x squared. Opposite, opposite. Done. Now, vertical format, we kind of just did that. So I'm going to line these up. So this minus 8 would go right under here, minus 8. The x squared goes under the x squared, it's positive. And then I'm just going to add. So you can put a 0x there to placeholder if you want. This is negative 7. This is negative 4x. 5x plus 1x squared is 6x squared. The degree of this is 2. There's 3 terms. It's a trinomial. And my leading coefficient is 6, just to review. Okay, so for your horizontal format, not a big major difference here. You're still going to add the opposite. I like to do that in a brighter color. So this is adding opposite. So opposite, opposite, opposite. This was negative, now it's positive. This was positive, now it's negative. This was positive, now it's negative. Okay, so now I'm just going to combine my like terms. Now this 2x cubed There's nothing alike with it over there, so it just is what it is. Plus the next thing, because I'm going in order from the highest exponent to the smallest, the next exponent I see would be this 2. So plus x squared. Nothing for me to group with that, so I'm kind of, in my head, I cross it off just so I keep track. And then this minus 3x, nothing for me to combine that with, so minus 3x. But I can combine these two. 4 plus negative 5. So I didn't do anything with this, didn't do anything with this, didn't do anything with this, but this I can do. 4 plus negative 5 is negative 1. This, if I was classifying it, would just be a polynomial. The degree would be 3. Leading coefficient is 2. All right, so here's what I would love for you to do right now is try these two. It says find the sum or difference, but they're both subtraction because it kind of ends up being the same thing. So I want you to try A and B, given what we just did. Press pause and do that. And then I'm just going to have my answer up here for you to check it in a minute. Thank you. So if you decided to use the vertical format for part A, I did put a 0 placeholder there. I forgot to tell you about that. Just to make sure that I still stayed in order from cubed, squared, x, and 7. If I didn't have that 0 placeholder, I would kind of be trying to figure out where do I put that x squared? So I line that up there. Check your work with mine just to make sure that you're okay. If there's anything that you need to edit, edit it, and then I'll show you the answer right now for part B. Hey, did you remember to distribute that 2 first? I did. I got 2x squared minus 8x plus 10, and then I added the opposite. So I put plus, and then all of these signs changed. Then I combined my like terms. 2x squared minus x squared gave me x squared. Negative 8x minus 6x gives me negative 14x. And then 10 and 1 gave me 11. That is it for adding and subtracting. Thank you kindly.